Hello everyone! The legendary day has finally come when we return to one of my favorite multiverse called Skibidi Wars. As you know, a few days ago, Virlance released the 101st episode, which turned out to be one of the most important for the history of the entire series. While you and I were watching the epic battles between the Alliance and the aliens, as well as the most unexpected betrayal in the ranks of the Skibidi army, we, in fact, completely forgot about what is happening at the main headquarters of the Alliance, which, as you remember, was attacked by the infected sonar titan led by the plague toilet. Well, if you're really ready to see the legendary return of Plunger Cameraman and find out which monsters have captured the main base of the Alliance, then put all your business aside for the next 10 minutes and trust me, today I will analyze the 101st episode of Skibidi Wars for you and then show you all the secrets and Easter eggs that I managed to find. What kind of new mutant did we see at the end of the episode, and where did he get the microphones? How is the Alliance going to regain control of the headquarters, and who was talking to Plunger Cameraman on the radio? Get your tea and snacks ready and prepare to watch this video to the end because I saved the juiciest part for later, just as always. Let's go! But before we get to the analysis, let me remind you that my last analysis of Skibidi Wars was released more than 2 weeks ago. And I think for such a long time you might have forgotten some important details, without which it will be difficult to figure out what is happening in episode 101. So let me quickly refresh your memory and tell you what happened in the last episode. As you know, in episode 97 there was an insane reunion of the Titans who joined their forces with the head of the Skibidi army to destroy their common enemy in the face of an alien. The newly formed team kicked his ass quite easily, but at the last moment, Tri-Yellow escaped from the battle to help Tri-Titan, who was hypnotized by Cinema Man in order to regain control of the Big Boy's control unit. Fortunately, there was TV Woman nearby who had her memory restored by the secret agent, and who told the whole truth about who she was and what horrors the Alliance was actually doing to her. The lady fell into some real rage mode and helped her boyfriend, and at the last moment, she managed to cancel the operation to regain control. And it seemed that the loving couple would finally be able to be together. But Tri-Pink also arrived at the scene. Who did not know that TV Woman was at one with the aliens and mistakenly attacked her and then tried what her flesh tasted like? This scene has officially become one of the saddest in the entire history of this series. But fortunately, I also have some good news for you guys, which is related to this poor girl. But I'll tell you about it at the end of the video. So be sure to watch it to the end so that you won't miss anything. So, of course, the loss of the love of his life did not please Tri-Titan at all, and he fell into a real rage, and then a serious fight began between the aliens, as a result of which the big boy sent Tri-Pink to a better world forever. Of course, all this did not please her brother, who also became obsessed with revenge, and this became his main mistake. So the two monsters continued a ruthless fight in space, as a result of which the big boy still managed to turn Tri-Yellow's body into a kebab by piercing him with his huge sword and then throw the poor guy to the bottom of the ocean to feed the fish. Meanwhile, both Titans went to the main headquarters of the Alliance, and the Emperor received information about the exact location of the traitor toilet necromancer. And together with Malware, they arrived at the scoundrel's lair and tried to explain to the Psycho that his disappearance looks very strange. The necromancer did not lie and said that the Emperor was unworthy to be the head of the Skibidi army, and all this time the madman wanted to take his place. And of course, for such bad words, the Emperor deprived the traitor of his head, but everything turned out not to be so simple. Since the necromancer was immortal, his soul just left the destroyed body and flew into the depths of the cave, and G-Man and several other freaks stood up to protect him. The forces turned out to be unequal, and as a result of the battle, the Emperor was still defeated. But the most interesting part of this episode was the appearance of the toilet necromancer in his new body. He turned out to be a terrible monster of monstrous size, and he had a nice conversation with the defeated Emperor, and with the help of the phantom toilet turned the poor guy into his puppet. And unfortunately, the same thing happened to the Malware toilet. Now that your memory has refreshed, I am glad to analyze for you the new 101st episode that is already on your screens. Also, before starting, I would like to ask you to subscribe to the channel and give it a like because I really want to achieve my main dream and gain 100,000 subscribers by the end of this month, and I really hope for your support. Well, In the first seconds, we see three guys led by Plunger Cameraman, and the fighters are holding special guns in their hands, and they look exactly like the weapons that the big cameraman used in the 99th episode in the battle against computermen. Also note that these cameramen wear different clothes. For example, the one on the left wears a white shirt with a bulletproof vest, and the one on the right is dressed in a stylish suit, as if he was going on a date. Hey, dude, you're at war. You should change your wardrobe. Okay, Computerman contacts the legendary Plunger Cameraman on a special walkie-talkie, and the dude reports that these guys were the first to arrive at the western entrance of the headquarters. He also says that the Alliance has lost any connection with the microphonmen race, and they have no information about what is happening inside the base. The dumbass finally gets a smart idea, and he informs them that maybe they shouldn't have left the poor devils alone to defend the headquarters and at least send one Titan to help. In the end, he says that very soon the computerman's race and all the other members of the Alliance will arrive at the northern entrance and then regroup to the central part of the base. And if you don't quite understand what's going on right now, then let me explain. In episode 97, Computer Woman came up with an ingenious plan that was divided into 3 parts, according to which computermen and TV men will have to regain control of Trititan, while cameramen and speakermen will take over the destruction of 2 new aliens. And of course, the microphonmen's race was entrusted with protecting the headquarters, and it was a damn bad plan because absolutely every race except for just one had a Titan. And now try to guess who didn't have it? Only the microphonmen race lost their sonar Titan in episode 91 when it was infected by the plague toilet. Besides, Sonar not only could not help his friends defend the headquarters, but also arrived there himself to destroy it and enslaved all those who were inside. This plan was very bad, and let's see how the Alliance is going to fix this difficult situation. When the helicopter lands, we can immediately see how we are greeted by 2 ordinary cameramen and another large one who wears a protective lens. Also behind them is the entrance to the headquarters with a blue logo in the center resembling the letter A, and this is an obvious abbreviation of the Alliance organization. Plunger Cameraman comes up to his older brother and shows him the finger up, and at this moment you can notice something interesting. Behind them in the distance, you can see someone's silhouette with a green microphone. A mysterious stranger is well hidden and watching us from the side, but you will find out who this guy is very soon. When the camera starts spinning around Plungerman, you can see a watch on his hand, and this is a special walkie-talkie using which Computerman communicates with him, and you can also see the destroyed microphonman behind him. His head changed its color to green, which means that this guy was infected just like Sonar Titan at the end of the 97th episode. Well, after a boring lecture from Computerman, another microphonman appears in front of the guys, and his head also changed color to green. The poor guy does not have a hand, and there is a jetpack on his back. Of course, no one from the Alliance knows that this guy is infected and his mind is controlled by the plague toilet. So one of the cameramen reaches out to the poor guy, and for this kind act, microphoneman destroys him forever. A real gangster skirmish begins, and another infected patient arrives from above. And for such insolence, Plungerman kicks him, and the big cameraman ends these games and destroys the freak. By the way, do you remember that mysterious stranger I was talking about at the beginning of the episode? That is this very microphoneman who flew to the aid of his infected friend. Okay, things are going pretty well, but suddenly the big microphoneman returns from the other world, who grabs 2 poor devils and sends them to a better world. The Plungerman's weapon turns out to be useless and does not cause any serious damage to the freak. And after that, something interesting happens, because the little brother had a special toilet paper all this time that works like a grenade. And this is an obvious reference to the second part of the 69th episode of the original series by Boom. Also, didn't it seem strange to you that a weapon in the hands of Plungermen can't destroy anyone? I mean, why does one of the most powerful characters in the multiverse have a gun that can't handle even a small opponent? I addressed this question directly to Virlance, and he told me the shocking truth, and I will show you his message at the end of the video. Okay, unfortunately the brother does not have time to use the grenade because another freak appears out of nowhere and knocks our hero off his feet. After such a blow, it is pretty difficult to continue the fight, and the dark speakerman comes to the aid of Plungerman. And he gives the main character headphones, and after that he epically pulls out his knives and simply destroys our offender. By the way, it's an interesting fact, but the dark speakerman's knives in this multiverse are red, whereas in the original series they were white. Okay, the Alliance is almost at the goal, and the last infected patient blocks our way to the entrance to the headquarters. Two legends stand in an epic pose, but the big speakerman does all the work for them, and with his powerful sound makes the fool writhe in pain, and this game gets completed by Plungerman, who finally uses toilet paper and destroys this poor guy forever. Also, you couldn't help but notice this sign on the left. Unfortunately, its quality is very poor and I couldn't understand what it says. But if you have theories about it, then be sure to write it in the comments, and I'll pin the most interesting one under this video. Finally, the battle is over, and Plunger Cameraman uses his handprint to open the gate. It really works, and inside we see a terrible scene. Fire is burning everywhere, and based on these debris, it can be assumed that the entire room is completely destroyed. It seems that after the infected sonar titan got there, the entire base was absolutely ruined, and I really hope that at least one of these poor microphonmen was able to survive. Well, the team of daredevils is preparing to go inside. But suddenly a new mutant gets in their way. So before flying inside the headquarters, this scoundrel attacks the big speakerman, and the poor guy's head simply gets knocked off. This dude has a special mask on his face and iron hands with claws, and there is something like a toilet under his head. Of course, you couldn't help but notice these microphones, and it looks like this Skibidi toilet is also under the control of the plague toilet. It is also possible that he is one of the members of the undead army that toilet necromancer created in episode 100. I do not really know. It's not entirely clear how this freak was able to get all these improvements, but one thing I can say for sure, he's very strong, and most likely we'll meet him again in the next episode. Well, after such a tragic scene, all the guys go inside what is left of the headquarters, but suddenly the blood gets distracted by a plunger that lies next to the toilet. So he comes closer, and at the very last second of the episode, he stretches out his hand to it. I think it's time to explain to you what this means, because Virlance himself explained to me that according to his idea, the legendary plunger cameraman did not exist until the end of episode 101. And it happened here that he first finds his main weapon and begins his journey as one of the most powerful characters in the entire multiverse. That's why his gun was so weak. The fact is that Plungerman in the 101st episode has not yet become the Giga Chad that we know and love, as the events of Skibidi Wars are the past of the original series. And in the next episode, we will witness the great moment when Plungerman uses his main weapon for the first time. And believe me, this day will go down in history. I also promised to tell you something even more interesting about the poor girl who became a dinner for an alien, but the video turned out to be very long, so I'll tell you everything very quickly. Fortunately, the secret agent took care of the sweet lady and took her out of Tri-Pink's stomach, and after that, he went with her to his base where, with the help of a special crystal, he is going to bring Tri-Woman back to life. And perhaps in future episodes of Skibidi Wars, we will still be able to see the reunion of two loving hearts. And that was all for today. Write your theories in the comments about what awaits us in the next episode. And that was me, ISO Toilet. See ya!